Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Today's the next installment of a retro review, and today we're looking at probably one of my favourite 1Ds. This is the 1D Mark IV. This is the second 1D I bought after obviously the Mark III, but this is the first one I used when I really got into photography properly and fully learned how the systems worked. And this is a camera that occasionally I still even grab out now, being it has got a crop sensor in there, and you can get slightly closer than you can with like the full frames of the 1DX and the 1DX Mark II. Still really good, capable camera. So what we're going to do is now look through the specs and then we'll go from there. So let's crack on now. So guys, this is the 1D Mark IV as we've already discussed here. This came out in December of 2009, so a very, very long time ago now, 14 years ago. Which you wouldn't believe with the image quality you can get from this camera itself right now. Came out at $5,000 US, and I picked this one up for £350 UK. It has a aps-h 1.3 times crop factor sensor in it, with a 16.1 megapixel sensor in there. It's a really nice sensor, uses a lot of power, uses the sort of bigger batteries that you can get from the more modern cameras. It is 10 frames a second, which sounds like this, and it goes up to a shutter speed of 1/8000th of a second, so massive upreach on compared to what was available on the Mark III. So you've got those 6 more megapixels than you get on the Mark III, which is why I massively preferred this camera over the Mark III. It's just the image quality, in my opinion, was a hell of a lot better. So you've got, obviously with all 1Ds, you've got your built-in battery grip on the side there, and you've got your on-off switches and everything for everything there. You've got redundancy on the cards themselves. So you've got compact flash as your main there, and then your secondary is an SD card. I always shoot redundant, so that does reduce the amount of frames I get sort of in the buffer. You get up to 28 on your buffer, which, to be honest with you, is pretty much the same as what I'd get from the R7 now anyway, so not actually massively far off even from there. The weight of the camera itself is 1.18 kilos. It's something myself that I've used and really enjoyed. I like the weight of it. It's a bulky camera, but I really enjoy that. The battery itself, like with the Mark III, it's down here. I've got a non-series, but it's an LP-E4 battery that goes into there. And you've got all on the side. You've got your shutter release, your HDMI, your flash. Everything's all on the side where you expect it to be. You do have no buttons like on the 1DX on the front, but you don't really need them. You've got a nice clear LCD screen, and a nice clear viewfinder as well. Pretty simply laid out in the back compared to like the more modern cameras where you've got a lot of buttons, a lot of switches. So it's super easy to learn to use, and this is why I massively got on with this camera. Say I had the Mark III and didn't really get on with it. I don't know why, just I couldn't really get the images I really wanted from it. Then I moved to the Mark IV here, and I've just instantly got incredible photos. And then I rebought a second one again when I had the 1DX to use as my secondary, just because of how good this camera is, and the fact you've got that 1.3 crop on there, so you can bring everything slightly closer with the longer lenses, but still maintain 16 megapixels. Say the 1DX is only 18 megapixels. Yes, it's got a newer and arguably slightly better sensor, but you still get incredible images from this camera, and we'll go through those in the next part of this series, where we'll go through all the cameras individually and take them out into the real world. Okay, so that's the overall spec of this camera. It's one that I personally really enjoy using. I bought it as a secondary. This actual version is a secondary for my 1DX when I was going to Goodwood once a year, and I wanted a second camera that I could rely on. But since then, it has definitely grown on me. I've got some incredible sharp photos with this camera. With everything else, as say this series, We've only got one camera left to do, which I still haven't even purchased yet, which is the 1DS Mark III. And then what we're going to do is we're going to revert back to the start again and actually take every single camera out into the real world and take photos with them and see what the quality is. So we'll start with the 1D Mark I, then a 1DS Mark I, and so on and so forth through the whole range until we get to this camera here and the 1DS Mark III. Also, I'm not sure if the 1DX is classed as retro yet. It's over 10 years old, but I'm going to assume at the moment, because it's such a commonly used 1D, can't really call it a retro one yet, but I have done a couple of videos already on that camera with it being over 500,000 shutters on that camera now and how much I've used it. So if you want to check those out, I'll leave a link in the description below. But overall, say super happy with this camera. We're going to go through and do some actual photos with it and look at how they look like compared to what I get now on the 1DX Mark II. So if you want to see all that sort of content, please subscribe, comment if you still use one of these cameras yourself. If you want to as well, comment with your links to your social medias and I can definitely have a look and see what your content looks like. If you want to follow mine, there'll be in the link below as well. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day. See you again soon. Goodbye.